insights really was started because, well, I began the metaphysical field when I was very, very young with Dr. Paul Leon Masters in Hollywood. I was about 13 years old, and my mother really wanted to find some answers out about life. My father had passed away, and when he died, really didn't believe in life after death. And yet, there was this moment 3 days later after he died that my father came to her in spirit and kissed her on the forehead and said, "There is a forever." So that began her search for looking at the greater meaning of what is life and is there life after death. So I began taking classes with Dr. Paul Leon Master at a young age, and a whole new world opened up to me about metaphysics. I just couldn't read enough. I loved, most of all, learning how to meditate and how to connect with that inner self. It was funny, right before the show, someone called, and I took the call thinking it was the guest I'd invited in, but it was someone wanting a reading, and you know, so many people do want readings. Well, I learned through meditation how to go within and make that connection, deep connection to the inner self. And when you make that deep connection to the inner self, a whole other world opens up, and truly you can get readings. You can really ask anything from when you make a connection to your soul, which then makes a connection to God. And I believe I have my guest on the line. I am very happy to welcome Dr. Joseph Kenneth. A big aloha from Maui to you there in Chile. How are you doing, Joseph?
I'm great. Can you hear me okay, Cindy?
I can. There seems to be a little back chatter going on, but I hear you good.
Good.
And it's really great to welcome you from Chile.
Thank you.
I want to give a little bit of a background of what Dr. Joseph Kenneth's background is. And part of the thing that's so wonderful, Joseph, as you know, you're an alumni of the University of Metaphysics. And it's a wonderful family, just an amazing family that is worldwide. And I've learned so many amazing things from the people who are practicing all the different aspects of metaphysics. You're an author. You have a wonderful spiritual easing that we want to talk to people about. You're also a musician, and you've been living in Chile for a while. But you also have been very aware of the power of what happens when your chakras open up. You had this amazing experience of your kundalini rising, and you found out what was going on in the astral planes. And you wrote this book called Life is But a Dream. And you've been teaching people a lot about the astral planes and astral travel since then. So tell me, when did you begin getting interested in metaphysics and finding Dr. Master's teachings, Joe?
Great summary. And again, thanks for having me. Now that the background noise is gone, I closed out the actual blog talk window, so now we're just calling in via Skype. Everything seems to be fine. Let me know if there's any communication fluctuations as we go. I have, from an early age, been interested, before I even knew that it was formally called metaphysics. I've always been interested in what lies beyond. Was never really satisfied with the answers that were being given to me through the public system and through society. So there's always an underlying need there to find something else out. But as far as really getting into the astral projection, that was probably about 7-8 years ago now. And I got really serious about it. I remember that I, took a major decision in my life to say, okay, well, I'm really going to try to leave my body, like most explorers. And once I was able to accomplish that for the first time, it was intended, but at the same time, early in the morning, very spontaneous. And it was quite a shocker. And the amount of energy that went through my body was, I didn't know what was going on at the time, but it felt so intense, but it wasn't painful. And then I later came to find out that was literally the first release of my Kundalini energy that had been really stored up, for about 25 years, 26 years. And was just ready to be released in an amazing way. So then I got serious, even more serious. I said, well, there's definitely something beyond the physical. Definitely all of this, stuff that people want to believe really is true, because I had then experienced it firsthand. And I said, well, how can I do this again? And how can I, get serious about this, share it, and also explore my inner world to understand better my outer world. That's when I started to research and, of course, came across the University of Metaphysics and Dr. Paul Leon Masters programs, and the whole family at the University of Metaphysics opened up to me in the curriculum, and it was such a life changer. I mean, you know what I'm saying, Cindy, because you're part of the same family, but just the amount of information and life-changing practices that are involved in that curriculum, it just opens up a whole new gateway to existence. Hence all of the major changes in my life, the birth of the Light Body Travelers, my moving to Chile, and just really every small, major and minor step that I've taken since that.
It's quite an amazing journey, isn't it? It's, you know what? It is something that when you start and begin it, it's like this another dimension, or many dimensions actually open up to you. But let's start with the Light Body Travelers, because there's so much that you've been doing. I mean, there's just so many gifts that you've really been able to share, and I do want to talk about Light Body Travelers and your fabulous e-zine as well. But I mean, just before we go on to that, the book that you have, are people able to pick up your book anywhere on your website or Amazon or anywhere?
Yeah, both. Really anywhere. Our goal, because we're a spiritual society, like a modern day Gnostic-based spiritual society, we try to incorporate everyone who is a serious seeker and wants to not only utilize astral projection as an entertainment seeking type thing, but a spiritual development, gift and exercise. We want to incorporate them into a family. So to answer your question, yes, the book's available on Amazon, but it's exclusively available through a beautiful flipbook edition, as well as there's 12 weekly meditations that correlate with it. It's a 7-week curriculum, the book, and we have a beautiful meditation series available on the website as well to our members. So we prefer that people actually join the website to get the full experience, because it's not just the book and learning to astral project in 7 weeks and go, getting all of this in depth. We hold nothing back as far as the esoteric sciences are concerned. They get all of that aside from the book, and they are part of a spiritual community where they can, comment and get updates from the e-zine, as well as interact with other spiritual seekers on our what are they called, discussion forums as well. So that's really the idea, is to get people to interact through the website.
Well, I applaud you, because I know it's the goal of many people when they begin in the metaphysical field. There's so much they find that they want to share their wisdom with the world, but I think many people listening understand, if they've ever tried writing a book in concept when it comes to you is brilliant, but the work and time it takes to implement it, to get it out and edit it, and then to make sure that, and I've learned this just recently myself after putting out 3 books and 4 CDs, it's not just getting the book out, but it's the next step you seem to have accomplished, Joe, which is having the way to share it in a way that's useful to other people, and that is by what you've created, the classes, the courses. That's really what is valuable to people. So what is the website for people to find out about?
www.lightbodytravelers.com. I was a little bit hesitant to do the radio show here today. Just as a heads up, we are officially switching hosting companies and doing a bunch of upgrades on the site. So make a note on that website, guys, and on about Tuesday, everything should be properly migrated and the site will be back up. We're doing some major security upgrades as well, so it kind of just comes with the territory. So lightbodytravelers.com around Tuesday. Light Body
Travelers. Well, the magic of course, communication. This will be on file, and I also take these and put up on my podcast. I have a podcast through Podbean that goes out so I'll wait till Tuesday to get that out to people as well. But yeah, that I applaud as well, because I'll tell you, for someone, the right brain versus left brain, trying to use technology and all of these things for me has always been a bit of a challenge. And
You're not
and I
alone.
have.
Yeah.
You have to learn it if you're going to get out to people. You have to. But so I've learned that the medium of I've been in radio for over 40 years. And I just counted. I probably have done 15,000 radio shows over that time. But still trying to get it out there and get it on the internet and get it right is a very important thing. So I applaud your ability to do that, because you embrace that ability to create this e-zine, which is, I think, is just fabulous. Can you tell us when you came up with the idea of doing an e-zine and what that's about?
Yeah, I have so much to say because you touched on some awesome things. Just to answer your question briefly, within the last 2 years, we got the idea together. First and foremost, I remember first Googling you when I came across your information on the University of Metaphysics website, and I was blown away. Just to be straightforward and honest, you were a major inspiration for me through all of this. Back when we were first getting Spiritualists International started, I remember reading about you and your history in radio, and then your involvement with metaphysics and your work and your books and your CDs. I'm like, well, she's a musician, she's a writer, she's like everything that that I'm striving to do here. So you were one of the first people that William and I both contacted, and we're like, okay, we want to get this woman on board. She's just a magnificent example of success. So thank you, Cindy, first and foremost.
Well, thank you very much for that. And I wish anything that comes through that does work is through the grace of God.
Yeah, well, it's neat too, because good works inspire more good works. And I know, going back to Dr. Leon Masters, everything he did, we did a feature on the University of Metaphysics in our issue, Positive Change. And we embedded his video interview that's on the homepage of the site right into his article. Just the amount of lives that he's touched, and then the amount of lives that we touch through our metaphysical services. It's like the Pay It Forward movie, but in real life, you know, and it's real. And it's just so amazing to think about the ripple in the pond that one man or woman or human can make, and to just watch it ripple out so beautifully. So that's a tangent, I'm sorry, but I did, once I moved to Chile, to get back to your question, is when things really started to open up at a higher level. I knew I was still in the middle of the book. I was working through the editing process with William. William May is kind of my partner, editor, really right-hand man in all of this with the LBT. He's one of the co-founders. So then the book was complete, and then I really started spending a lot more time in nature once I got to Chile. It wasn't necessarily one of my goals, but beneath it all, what was happening was that when I left the United States, I was kind of voluntarily removing myself from my synthetic environments and what I was kind of accustomed to with the conveniences and the vices and whatnot. Not that I was in a bad place in the United States. I love the country, but it is, you know how it is, Cindy. There's nothing like leaving the States to live somewhere else to really get a wake up or just a fresh perspective on what is really happening in your life. So that's what happened when I went to Chile. And right away I found this wonderful nature preserve about 3 blocks from where I was staying, called the Quinta Vergara. And a lot of LBT members are familiar with it just through videos, because I do a lot of messages from up there. But that was my meditation spot, my yoga spot, my hiking spot, really just my outdoor spot. And I spent countless hours there in deep meditation, heavy spiritual practice. Every Sunday morning I'd go up to the top of the mountain and do my sun gazing, my rituals, my invocations, and just wasn't asking for anything specific. But that's when all of these things started to just unwrap in my mind. And really, I hate to say business plan, but the business plan was really just laid out in front of me for the website, how to connect with people and how to put all this together. It's really just given to me, like handed to me through the concentration. And it was, again, getting away from what I was accustomed to in the United States. And I don't think this would have all come to manifest unless I hadn't taken those steps.
Well, you understand the importance of a power spot. And I always try to go to some power spots that I know here on Maui, but whenever I travel, I try to honor that as well, because what you're doing is you're actually, you understand the power of light and what's going on. It's actually you're opening up a vortex to the higher levels of consciousness to come through, and obviously